Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts or story in the comments, and subscribe to our latest stories. Before I start, tell me where you are watching me from. I wonder which cities and towns will join me in this memory that has followed me for years. It all started on one of those afternoons when the day looks ordinary but feels unusually heavy. I had just finished sorting through some old boxes in the attic, and there was dust in my hair and a faint ache in my lower back. I remember thinking how quiet the house felt, how still everything seemed. Then I heard a soft knock on my door. Not hurried, not loud. Just a gentle tapping, like someone trying not to disturb the rhythm of the day. It was my neighbour, Daniel. We'd lived next door to each other for nearly 7 years, and though we weren't close, we shared the kind of quiet, polite connection that grows naturally between neighbours who see each other often but never quite cross the threshold of friendship. He was a calm man, always steady, always respectful, with a voice that carried a sort of quiet patience. When I opened the door, he offered a warm but tired smile. He held a small toolbox in one hand, wiping his forehead with the other. He said it would only take a minute. That's exactly how he said it. Just a minute. He needed help looking at something in his backyard, something with a piece of wiring behind the shed, he explained. It sounded simple enough, so I agreed. I didn't even change out of my dusty clothes. His backyard always smelled faintly of pine, and the wind moved through the tall trees like a soft whisper. I remember the sky that day, clouds spreading like watercolor across a pale blue canvas. It felt peaceful, almost too peaceful, the kind of calm that makes you notice every small sound. But when we reached the shed, I could tell from the way he exhaled that whatever he wanted to show me wasn't as simple as he tried to make it sound. The wiring he pointed to was tangled deep behind an old wooden frame, half buried under bags of soil and a coiled garden hose. I looked at him, and he gave a sort of apologetic laugh, the kind people make when they realize they've underestimated a problem. He kept saying it was really supposed to take only a minute, and I could tell he felt uncomfortable asking for help. Maybe that's why I stayed. Or maybe it was the way his voice softened when he thanked me, as if my presence alone eased something in him. We worked side by side, moving things carefully, brushing off dirt, trying to follow the wire to where it disappeared under a loose board. I noticed how careful he was with everything, how he handled each object gently even when he was frustrated. There was something grounding about the silence we shared, comfortable, steady, uncomplicated. At one point, when I reached over to pull the board loose, he stopped me, not abruptly, but with a quiet concern in his voice. He told me to wait, that he didn't want me to strain myself. No one had spoken to me like that in a long time, not with worry, not with sincerity, not with that kind of softness that isn't romantic, just human. I felt something shift in me, just slightly. The minute he promised stretched into almost an hour, but it didn't feel long. Time moved differently in that quiet corner of his yard, in the shade of those tall pines, with the distant hum of cars on the road and the warm smell of earth rising around us. There was a calmness to it, a pause from the world I hadn't realized I needed. When we finally managed to lift the board and trace the wiring, he let out a slow breath, almost a sigh. Not of frustration, more like relief. He sat down on the low step by the shed, wiping his hands on a cloth, and I joined him. We weren't touching. We weren't even particularly close. But the air between us felt different now. Quiet, yes, but filled with something unspoken. A kind of understanding that sometimes comes from being in the right place at the right moment with someone who needed exactly that. He thanked me again, not casually, not with the usual politeness neighbors give each other. It was deeper, heavier, like it carried something he didn't quite know how to say. And I realized I felt the same way. That simple favor, that unexpected hour, had opened something small but meaningful inside me. We talked for a while, not about anything important, just little stories, memories, small things you only share when you feel safe. I found myself relaxing, the tension I carried all morning dissolving slowly. When I finally stood to leave, he walked me to the gate. The sun was lowering behind the trees, and the yard was bathed in warm gold light. He looked at me with a quiet smile and said again, it was supposed to take a minute. But this time his voice carried a different meaning. A softer one. A grateful one. And as I walked back home, brushing dust from my clothes, I realized something had changed, not between us exactly, but inside me. Something gentle, something reflective, something that reminded me how small, unexpected moments can unfold into memories that linger far longer than anyone plans. That day was never supposed to matter. But it did. And even now, years later, I can still smell the pine, still feel the quiet calm of that shaded backyard, still remember the warmth of his voice when he thanked me not for the help, but for staying.